Hi, welcome to Crash Course World Music. My name is Josh, and today we'll be talking about the history of hip-hop. Hip-hop was a major part of the modern music industry. A vast majority of commercial songs today are produced by rap artists, and hip-hop has been ingrained into our culture. But how and why did it begin? The roots of hip-hop can be traced to African griots, who orally passed down knowledge of tribal history, family lineage, births and deaths, and wars. The cultural importance of oral tradition diffused to America as Africans were brought through the transatlantic slave trade, demonstrating how interregional interaction led to the development of hip-hop. African American rapping games were used as forms of resistance for slavery. For example, Brer Rabbit Tales used the metaphors of slaves as the rabbit and masters as the fox to escape the suspicion of the masters. Just like slaves used their lyrical skills to unify their audience, rappers connected African Americans by utilizing music and giving a voice to the urban youth.
The creation of hip-hop can be attributed to DJ Kool Herc. After moving from Jamaica to the Bronx, DJ Kool Herc began spinning records at parties, trying to imitate the style of Jamaican DJs by talking over the records he spun. He called his innovative style the merry-go-round, which was an extended drum break of pure rhythm that the audience enjoyed because they could dance to it. As breakdancing and rap became more popular, MCs began to develop their sense of rhythm and a natural flowing style. At first, hip-hop was only performed live, but in 1979, the Sugar Hill Gang released hip-hop's first commercial hit, Rapper's Delight, which became a top 10 hit worldwide. Following the success of Rapper's Delight, many other hip-hop artists began producing records as well. Most of the songs were about having fun, but in 1982, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five released the first socially conscious record in The Message, which was about the perils and anxieties of urban life. This inspired other rappers to write songs about poverty, crime, and other stresses of living in the inner city.
The birthplace of hip-hop took place in the Bronx in the 1970s. Major highways were being built so middle-class European immigrants were pushed out, leaving behind impoverished African Americans. Around the same time that hip-hop was developing, gangs began to pop up in the streets. The height of gangs brought about one major gang, the Savage Seven, who was later renamed the Black Spades as more members began to join. All of a sudden, gangs began to become a regular sighting in the street. African Bambaataa, who was a former gang member and leader of the Black Spades, viewed hip-hop as a way to bring the ghetto youth together. As a result of the increase in street gangs, he founded an organization known as the Zulu Nation, which replaced gang rumbles and drugs with rap and dance.
During the mid-1980s and 1990s, a new form of rap was emerging, gangster rap, which was pioneered by NWA. This new genre was a direct reflection of the struggles of inner cities, including drug dealing, oppression, and police brutality. Gangster rap's protesting the ghettoization of African American communities appealed to the young African Americans because they had first-hand experiences of the harsh realities that the genre depicted. Gangster rap first came into the spotlight on the East Coast, but became a mainstream phenomenon once Los Angeles hip-hop group NWA released the album Straight Outta Compton. As expected, the group's name attracted the mainstream media's attention for its use of the N-word. One of the songs in Straight Outta Compton, F the Police, even drew attention from the FBI, prompting President George Bush to invite NWA leader Eazy-E to lunch in an effort to suppress the group's songs. This was the first instance of politicians blaming rappers for desensitizing the youth to danger of drugs and guns for inciting violent incidents.
Another major event that happened during this time period was the LA riots. These riots erupted due to the trial of Rodney King versus 4 LAPD officers in 1991. In which the officers were determined innocent, leading to enormous outrage from thousands of African Americans in the Los Angeles area. The trial and consequent riots gave legitimacy to marginalized gangster rap, providing it with a global stage. Recognizing that they had a much larger and newer audience, rappers responded to the LA riots with tracks such as Ice Cube's "We Had to Tear This Mother Effer Up." Other artists that responded in this way are Tupac, Ice-T, and Dr. Dre.
Now it's time to look at today's opening lyrics. We'll be guessing who the rapper is. This song is from 1998, and let's take a look.
It's like worth living, should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch.
Now let's talk about the modern century. DJ Kool Herc's era was drastically different from today's rap and hip-hop. Prior to the 2000s, African Americans were the main consumers of rap and hip-hop, as most songs dealt with racism and oppression in African American communities. However, in the 21st century, rap became repackaged by money-minded business people and mainstream media outlets such as MTV and pop music radio stations, who are more interested in appealing to a wide audience than preserving the historic function of hip-hop. According to Time magazine, more than 70% of hip-hop albums are sold to white Americans, and the suburbs are the main markets for hip-hop music. The culture of modern rap and hip-hop revolve around materialism and sex because it is a more relatable topic to wider audiences. The rap industry also focuses on competition between rappers rather than having a unified voice or community. Another topic that changes during the 21st century is the sexualization of women, especially female rappers. Previously, we see female rappers embody a more masculine persona by wearing baggier clothes and Timberlands. But now, in modern hip-hop, we see female rappers viewed as sex objects because it is more profitable for the larger industry. One of the most significant innovations that made hip-hop more accessible was the creation of music streaming applications, such as Apple Music, Spotify, and Tidal. By increasing the number of mediums through which hip-hop artists can sell albums, modern technology has allowed hip-hop to become a daily culture practice. The top 3 grossing hip-hop albums, for example, have sold a combined 32.1 million copies.
Culturally, hip-hop has provided an avenue for many artists to express their sentiments, ranging between love and hate, joy and rage, and fear and pride. In addition, hip-hop has redefined the meaning of language. Hip-hop songs have a greater sense of authenticity, as the lyrics often reflect the innermost struggles and frustrations of the artists. Also, because marginalized black youth often lack relatable and respectable leaders in ghettos and slums, they look up towards rappers as a mentor-type figure, and gives the youth hope for getting out of the neighborhoods they're in.
As we talked about earlier, the most significant social impact of rap was its ability to reflect the reality of daily life in poor urban areas and act as a protest movement. Because rap is such a popular genre of music, any subject discussed in a rap song immediately becomes a discussion in the community. This circulation of ideas can certainly be attributed as one of the causes of decreased racial discrimination and disparity of social classes since the 1970s. In addition to giving a voice to oppressed groups, rap has also had an economic impact on society. The popularity of hip-hop led to the creation of fashion lines like FUBU and Tommy Hilfiger. It also inspired movies such as Friday and Boys in the Hood, and TV shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and In the House, all of which were commercial hits and had a major impact on American marketing trends. Encouraged by the success of rappers, many African-American youth viewed the music industry as one of the only ways they could achieve the money necessary to escape oppression and impoverishment in the inner city.
One major continuity of rap and hip-hop history is that there was no major changes in political structure. Even though rap increased awareness, it exposed oppressive social practices. Its influence was never great enough to directly lead to political legislation. Some degree of resentment between white and black Americans has still remained, despite the efforts of hip-hop to promote civil equality. This is evidenced by present-day conflict between African Americans and police, and is also shown in race riots occurring throughout the nation. Another continuity in hip-hop is its style. The hard demeanor of rappers, the use of lyrical ability and rhythm, and breakdancing are also prominent in the industry today.
By expressing life in the inner city, hip-hop illustrates that racial discrimination and poverty are still very prominent issues in society today. Because discrimination is already illegitimate under the law, it would be difficult to create additional political legislation that would foster a colorblind society. However, a possible solution could be to embrace hip-hop and its historical significance within public school curriculums. This would effectively spread awareness of the issue of racial discrimination among the American youth, and would be a great way to relate to students' interests. Another problem presented by modern rap is that the music industry is often controlled by upper-class, white males who treat the hip-hop musicians as commodities, not artists.
Recognizing the social and cultural purposes of rap in schools would simultaneously preserve hip-hop's historical function as present-day commodification of rap turns hip-hop into a commercial trend. As we mentioned in the instance of NWA's album Straight Outta Compton, an additional problem presented by rap is that it is often blamed for causing violence. It is important to understand that violent rap lyrics are a product of violence and not a cause. To effectively address this, it is necessary that school programs study the role hip-hop has served in expressing daily lives in the inner city. It is also important that students are taught that rappers often only have violent personas because that is what interests people. Additionally, they need to understand that violent lyrics are relatable to urban youth who feel more pride of their community when they see the success of rappers. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week when we'll be talking about the history of country. Crash Course World Music is made possible by all of our 0 subscribers and is filmed here in Irvine. Thanks to our 11th grade world history teacher Mr. Banks and all of the crew members for helping us out.